Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Victor. This is Jack. So tell me about the Whitmer kidnapping.
Okay, this is a wild story.
Okay.
So I'm just going to guess that you don't know the details of this because I thought I had a good handling of it. I had no idea what was going on.
Okay.
Like, you kind of know the general things, but I'm going to play these videos for you later, and they're going to blow your mind.
Okay.
I've been, like, putting clips at the beginning, to show people,
Sure.
like, hey, watch farther. But these are just so wild, I have to bury the lead on them and tell you when they come in the story.
Okay.
Insane. Okay. So basically what happens, October 8th, 2020, the FBI arrested 13 men, turned into 14 total, right, of orchestrating a domestic terror plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, and otherwise using violence to overthrow the state government. Half of the suspects were tied to a paramilitary militia group that called themselves the Wolverine Watchmen, okay? 6 of the suspects were charged in federal court, while the other 7, but it's 8 because of the article, were charged with state crimes, okay?
Okay.
So what we're talking about here is when they charge you in federal court, they got a 90% plus chance of conviction.
Okay.
So the reason why they only pick 6 of 14 for federal court is those are the ones they're going to get. The 8, they're like, we got stuff, but we don't know. So just do state court for them, So the state picks up everything else. Anyways, the Wolverine Watchmen was associated with the 3 percenters extremist movement. I'm quoting from the article, sorry. And then all but 2 are from the state of Michigan. So one is from Delaware, and I didn't really get where the other one was from. But basically, so 12 out of 14 are from Michigan. Anyways, so there's basically, like you'll see, I got a lot of links below to different articles that I use for this research. But you'll see that there's a lie going on where they're like, well, there were 12 federal informants and there were 6 defendants. There were 6 federal defendants, but there were 8 state defendants. So the ratio is 12 to 14 is the accurate ratio. 12 federal informants or officers, involved in these people's lives, and 14 individuals. So that's the act. It's still a ton.
Incredible amount.
Yeah. Okay. And so one who it's interesting, but he won't really come up in the story too much. His name's Dan Chappelle. Oh, no, it's Big Dan. He is in the story. Okay. I didn't recognize that until now. He was an FBI informant who was paid $54,000. He became the second in command of the whole thing and masterminded the military training for the group, even as he helped the feds wiretap their messages. So that's Big Dan. Okay. And then
I'm processing. So he's training them. He's paid by the government to train them how to in military stuff. And what was the other thing they do? Oh, he was
he's second in command, and he masterminded the military training as he was wiretapping them. Okay. And you're going to see a lot of this stuff. It's all being financed by the government. So it's like, hey, we need to do a training day. And they're like, man, it cost me, I'll lose $1,000 at work. I'll give you the $1,000. You know what I mean? And it's like, I need $500 for transportation. I'll give you that. You know what I mean? But it's all coming from the government. So the government's funding the entire thing. Now, one of the key players, who's the FBI guy, right, is a really interesting character. And I'd like to see a book written about this dude. He's fascinating, right? His name's Stephen Robinson. Okay. He's an FBI informant with a list of felonies and other crimes. Couldn't find out what his previous felonies and other crimes were. And he organized key events to build the movement. Okay. So I'm not going to tell you his whole story now. We're going to develop it as we go. But I would love to see a book written about this fellow. Okay. So basically, here's how it starts. This is not how it starts at all. But here's how the narrative is spun.
Okay.
It starts at a meeting, June. Okay. Now keep in mind, when they busted these guys in October, this is the October surprise.
Okay. Right.
Okay. For the election, this is 2020 to defeat Donald Trump. Even though one of these guys is a crazy anarchist, one of them is a psycho hate Trump guy, but it's right wing extremism.
Right.
Because that's how the FBI has just cooked it. So they say June 6, 2020 was the start of the alleged conspiracy. Okay. So they're going to have a meeting, and this meeting is going to be hosted by Robeson, the FBI informant, right? So is this really the start of the...
And he's already an informant.
He's already an informant. Okay. So they've caught him for something else.
Right.
They've churned him. I can't tell you what that other thing is. I looked for it. If you find it, put it in the description. But so they're saying it started with a meeting held by an FBI informant. That's not where it started. The infiltration started much before that.
Yeah, it had to have. Right.
But that's where they're going to start it. So he hosted a meeting, Robeson, in Dublin, Ohio, and he's the one who suggests a kidnapping at the meeting.
The federal guy. Okay.
Yeah. So FBI hosts, then they say that's the start. That's not the start. This is well into it, but this is the history I can tell you, right? So we're going to talk. Go ahead.
But he's suggesting this because the people, his handlers are saying, suggest this.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the October surprise.
Okay, gotcha.
Because election's free and fair.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Cleanest election of all time. So there's a couple people I'm going to refer to often, right?
Okay.
And one of them is a guy named Adam Fox. And so when, I don't mean to disrespect this guy, but the FBI nickname for him was Captain Autism. He lived in a vacuum repair shop basement and smoked weed all the time. And they literally called him Captain Autism. So out of no disrespect to him, when I say his name, instead of saying Adam Fox, I'm going to say Captain Autism so you can see how ludicrous this story is.
And how little respect the government has for you.
Yeah, true. And how they take advantage of people with problems and just all the things.
Yeah.
And then another one I'm going to mention is Croft, and he will be convicted later. Okay. So he is not an informant. So the superseding indictment says that Captain Autism and Croft discuss anti-government actions, including the kidnapping of state governors and recruiting others to their cause. One attendee cautions, quote, "We have to behave in this room as though we have either police here in the flesh or by other means. Do not be foolish at any time, so everything we discuss is in the realm of if and hypothetical."
Okay.
So the people there who aren't feds are aware that this feds could be hosting this meeting, but...
So as long as you talk in hypotheticals, you can say this stuff? Is that how the laws work?
I mean, theoretically, I knew this guy, right?
Okay.
I went to a meeting with a guy, you know?
Gotcha.
And he looks at me and he says, "So I'm writing a book. And in this book, two people like maybe me and you go into it." And I'm like, I'm out.
Okay.
This dude's sketchy as can be, but I get what he's saying.
Okay.
You get it. If I'm recording him, I'm not recording him, obviously. You know, and I'm like, this dude's just sketchy. Anyways. So, and why would you be talking to a stranger about something? Like, this is the first time we met. Right. And you're trying to talk to me about writing a book about something?
Right.
I don't really know you. Okay. So that's June 6th.
Okay.
June 18th, fast forward 12 days, there's the Lansing rally. And this is the one where everybody got armed and went to the rally.
Okay.
So I believe it was an anti-COVID lockdown rally, but it's like an armed thing in there. I believe there were tens of thousands of people. Okay. So Captain Autism and Wolverine Watchmen militia group leaders, including Garbin, who will later he's one of the six. Okay. And I'll tell you what happens with him. And informant Big Dan, so he's the guy being paid $54,000.
Right.
Meet at Second Amendment rally in Lansing. A superseding indictment says that Captain Autism invites Garbin and others in the militia group to meet in Grand Rapids with the intent to recruit them into the conspiracy to kidnap the governor. So this is Captain Autism making an invitation.
Okay.
2 days later, June 20th, they do meet in Grand Rapids. Captain Autism, Garbin, and several others, including informant Big Dan, meet at Captain Autism's place in the basement of vacuum cleaner repair shop in Grand Rapids. Big Dan, wearing recording device, captures talk of plans to assault the state capitol, records show. There never was a plan to assault the state capitol, so it's Captain Autism smoking some weed and being like, "Dude, you know what we could do? Like, imagine there's tens of thousands of us. This is stupid." Okay. Right?
Okay.
This is not even part of the charges or nothing. This is just a fellow who needs some little help. Okay. 5 days later, June 25th, Captain Autism speaks out against the governor. Captain Autism live streams video to private Facebook group that included Big Dan, who's working for the FBI from the beginning. Court records show he complains about judicial system and the state's closure of gyms. Captain Autism refers to Whitmer as this tyrant, expletive, so we're going to say a B word. "I don't know, boys. We got to do something fucks right." So unofficially, this group, like this six, were called the Boys. Okay. So it's more of a call to action than you actually think, even though he put it lowercase. 3 days later, they do training in Munith. They do tactical training exercise at the home of Wolverine Watch member in Munith, northeast of Jackson. The FBI is paying for everybody to go out there, and maybe they need some ammo. I don't know. Anyways, this is going to get great. July 10th to 12th, training in Wisconsin. Okay? So we went from June 28th, they trained. Now they're training July 10th to 12th. And I have a video of this, which we're going to watch real soon. Just get ready. So all the main people, which is Captain Autism, Croft, Garbin, Caleb Franks, Brandon Caserta, Harris, Big Dan, working for the government, and others attend field training in Cambria, Wisconsin. The feds say Croft and Harris construct and attempt to detonate 2 improvised explosive devices made of black powder, balloons, a fuse, and BBs. Quote, Croft told an informant that they could use bombs to destroy police cars and take down communications towers, then use sniper rifles to kill Governor Whitmer's protective detail and abductor, the feds allege. Defense attorneys say informant Stephen Robinson hosted the training. So he's the guy who hosted the first meeting. He's hosting it, and Big Dan's there running the military exercises,
Nice. Okay.
But it's like, This is a joke. It's a silly joke. Okay, so now I'm going to play you a video of the training at that facility that was recorded, multiple angles, lots of angles, and then we're going to discuss it. Here we go.
That suppressor makes it nice. Course clear, safe that weapon.
Okay, so what do you think? You've never seen that before, right?
Yeah, I've never seen that.
What do you think?
I don't know what they're training for. They haven't had very good training, I feel like. I've never had training. I feel like I could do better than that. I feel like he hit one target. I heard one thing over all the stations. I mean, he was having trouble. It just seemed like it was ineptitude.
Yeah, at the second station, he couldn't get his gun.
Yeah, it was like he had trouble like getting the new mag to
he couldn't get it. And then when he runs from 2 to 3, he can't get the new mag in. You see him toss it on the ground, can't get it in. And what else do you see that's interesting?
I mean, they had I forget what it's called, the M29 launcher or whatever that's underneath. Like they were preparing to have like grenades or something.
Okay, what else?
Did he have like on a hat from like the Civil War or something, or like Patrick Henry?
Yeah, like a pirate hat, or an old sailor.
Yes, I noticed that at the beginning, and then I was like, no, I must be seeing something wrong, and I just dismissed it. But yeah,
what about the other guy running with him?
Oh, the guy taking more pictures?
It's a photo shoot.
Yeah,
it's literally a photo shoot.
Right.
Okay, if you're gonna do something wild, do you do photo shoots at your training sessions?
You don't even bring your phones to those.
You don't bring your phones to those. Right. I'm sure the guy filming is filming from his phone.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right. And we're going to see this trend continue in other videos. We're going to watch it in the next video. But I'm saying this is insane.
But what is the reasoning? You're filming me train because why? Like, what is the right answer to that?
Evidence.
Besides that, I mean, there's no logical reason to.
And so there's two different things that could be happening. One is a photo shoot because you're trying to recruit your militia. And the second is you're trying to kidnap a governor. You can't do both at the same time. And 100% of human beings know this.
Right.
One is there's no recording of anything that ever happens. Do you know what I'm saying? And the other is we just record everything and we're never going to actually do anything. Maybe the people we recruit will do something,
But no one's going to watch that video and be like, I want in with these guys.
Is he an operator? You know what I mean? That guy? Was he in that movie with that rescue? No, okay. Okay, so then basically that's their training.
Okay.
That's Wisconsin, okay?
Man, so poor governor has no chance.
And that was 3 days of training, a big training sesh, funded by the government. Yeah, and Big Dan sucks at training too because he's trying to train, Now we go to July 18th, so it's 6 days after the training ends.
Okay.
Meeting in Ohio. Garbin, Captain Autism, Croft, Harris, Franks, all the big players. Big Dan and others meet in Peebles, Ohio, and talk of attacking Michigan State Police Post, the feds say. Garbin suggests shooting up the governor's vacation home. Defense attorneys say informant Robertson hosted the meeting. Of course. Who would expect otherwise? I don't know what all this talk of attacking the police is. Because if you go out to the governor and you're talking about attacking her security detail, that's one thing.
Right.
But then police officers are chasing you. It's like, get them all. They're kind of just citizens, Sure, they're doing the lockdown, but are you No.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk about the police. It'll intensify too.
And so just because I'm ignorant, I need you to clarify something. I'm not real familiar with distances up in the northeast area. Why are they going to all these states? Is it really not that far? Like from Ohio to Michigan and that type of thing?
Yeah, no, Ohio's, right there.
Okay, so it's just, we're talking a few hours.
Yeah, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, they're all in the vicinity,
Okay.
yeah. Now, I've never been to Lansing, so I don't know how far that is.
Okay.
And I don't think they ever actually say where her vacation home is. I don't get a clear picture for that. Because we'll see in a picture later, they've blacked out the location. So now we're 9 days later, and they do a talk of snatch and grab. Informant Big Dan meets Captain Autism at Captain Autism home in basement of vacuum. Of course, Captain Autism talks of a snatch and grab of the governor. Quote, just grab the, we're going to guess B word, and take her to Wisconsin for trial, he says, the feds allege. I don't know why you have to take somebody for a trial if you've already determined the result. What do they believe in? Due process? They're big in due process? Right. Maybe. Captain Autism tells an informant they need a realtor in the Traverse City area to get information on Governor's cottage and a mole to give them inside information about her travel route, schedule, and security. This is Captain Autism talking. He's stoned. You know, he's got some good stuff, some dank. I don't know what they say. Anyways, something. Also that same day, July 27th, there's mention of kidnapping in an encrypted chat that includes Garvin, Harris, Franks, and informant Big Dan. Captain Autism asks how they feel about kidnapping, the feds say. No response. The autistic guy got really stoned. You know what I mean? Maybe he had a few tipsy drinks, you know what I mean? And then he wrote something provocative in an encrypted chat and nobody responded to him. Evidence exhibit number 1, right? This is silly. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. The next day, July 28th, they refer to the vacation home. Captain Autism tells Big Dan by phone that he narrowed his attack targets to the governor's vacation home and summer residence, the feds say. The call was not recorded. I don't really care what Captain Autism says. Sorry, brother. You know, This is silly. August 9th, so now we're fast forwarding 12 days. Training in Munich. We've got a video of this training as well. Captain Autism, Garvin, Harris, Franks, and Big Dan take part in tactical training in Munich and talk of plans to kidnap the governor, the feds say. But defense attorney says Harris speaks against kidnapping. So Harris is one of the main 6, not an informant, right? He says, quote, no snatch and grab. I swear to, I'm going to say it's effing God. Garvin seconds that. So Garvin's another one of the main 6. They say kidnapping is just as bad as going to the Capitol. So they're against the kidnapping plot. 2 of the main 6 guys they're saying. They also quote Captain Autism as saying that the group is definitely divided over its plans. So several of the main people that they're going to try for this are just really don't want to do the thing that the government's trying to get them to do. They're just expressing this. And the other guy's like, man, we're divided. Only the autistic guy wants to, you know what I mean?
The tie, yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to go to the next video. This is the training in Munich, and then we'll discuss that. It's also pretty wild. Here we go.
Bye, bye.
Keep moving.
Okay, so what do you think about that one?
It's odd. I don't know what scenario they're planning on. Like, you know, they're in their car but they're retreating behind their car. Like, it isn't like they pulled up. They're going to an objective. I don't know what they're training for. So many people filming. I mean, there was passenger side, and there was one at the rear, and the dude that was the perspective we were watching at least.
Amazing. I seen 2 from the back right of the car, 1 from the back left, plus the dude in the car.
Yeah.
And so he was the 5th man in the car because there were 4 in the car.
Okay.
And kind of like my thought when I was watching it just now, which it hadn't occurred to me before, is this isn't even good for a propaganda film because there's so many cameras that you can't get a good shot without another cameraman in the background. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even good for propaganda. It's definitely not good for actually doing a crime.
But it's like 2020. They can't like just mount a GoPro on the end of the rifle and do like a first person thing or something. And that'd be way more compelling than
interesting.
This.
And then you also wouldn't be saying like, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm about to commit a crime. You know?
That's true too. Yeah.
I left my passport at the 9/11 or something. I don't know. Okay. So now we're going to go August 10th. Next day, threats regarding vaccines. Feds say that Caserta, one of the main 6, posts in conspirators group chat. They named it's the conspirators group chat. Okay, whatever. It's silly. Quote, I think some medical fascists are going to need a vibe check real effing soon. How about we find out who is shipping the vaccines and then accost them and destroy the shipment? Doctors who advocate mandated vaccines. I don't know if I can read this, but something right to the face in their own home. Buildings manufacturing vaccines, make them not exist anymore. I'm just going to change the quote because I don't want to say the word actually.
So this is them trying to figure out other plans?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's like, like maybe they should find people who are shipping vaccines and accost them and destroy the shipment.
Or people pushing it on.
But like, are you talking about the truck driver?
Right.
Who doesn't really even look at the bills and he doesn't know what he's got in there?
Right.
Let's get him.
Is he the bad guy?
And then burn his... At a truck stop? Like, what are you thinking? Like, I just don't understand this. Or... I mean, the doctors, like, isn't exposing the doctors who are just complete sellouts better than doing terrible things to them in their homes, right?
Yeah.
Advocating for passing a law, making what they do illegal. This is just nonsense.
It doesn't change anything, all these ideas.
Destroying whole buildings, who are manufacturing. I think you need to get the public to go against it.
Right.
I think this part's silly. Harris suggests just killing the governor, although it would mean getting caught or killed. Quote, either way, if y'all want to go after her, just do it that way, end quote. Fuck, Captain Autism replies, well, who's got a suicide mission? That sentence doesn't even make sense. But if they're talking about suicide mission, why do you need to train that much?
Oh, yeah, you just gotta get to the point.
Get away from the cops. Later on, we're going to go to blow up the bridge so the cops can't. If there was one guy who was actually a threat, he was at that first meeting and he was sitting in the back of the room and he was going and didn't say a word and then just walked out. And you're like, oh no, that guy's wanting to kill the governor. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then she dies and you don't have all this LARPing.
That LARPing, that's a really... I was thinking they think they're in a movie or something, but they don't have
right.
So someone lost the script or something.
Right.
And they're
Can I just go on a side note here?
Yeah, go for it.
I had this conversation with you one time where I'm like, if you could pay to go learn to actually do coordinated group operations.
Oh yeah.
Just as a but you pay for it. There's actually people who are military people who are training you, and you're not actually going to do a thing.
You're just training. Yeah.
You're training, right? It's like we got the exact training course remade for John Wick movie number 2.
Sure.
You remember you see the scenes with him and Halle Berry, that was number 2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then boom, you go through those. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. Yeah.
These guys need that.
Just that.
They just need that. Because they don't, the governor, the lockdowns were terrible. You know what I mean? The governor, she's a scumbag. They just want to train. They want to LARP around, LARPing's fun.
Yeah, just go to a shooting competition and run through the courses.
Yeah.
And you get way better than what you're doing here.
Or we could just send them to prison for decades. Okay. So August 23rd, we're skipping 13 days. And we're getting, it's going to be October they're going to be arrested. October 23rd, they meet in Lake Orion. Garb and Harris, all the main people meet at Harris's home in Lake Orion and discuss surveilling the governor's vacation home. The government's superseding indictment says that they examined each other's IDs to verify that none were undercover cops or informants.
Well, because on your license it says paid by FBI.
Yeah. This is pointing out how stupid they are. They're like, we have damning evidence. Exhibit number 2. They checked each other's, okay, not guilty.
But they've never watched a movie or they're so ignorant of anything.
I mean, it's kind of like saying, if you're, say, a federal agent, you have a federal badge.
Right.
You also don't have a driver's license.
Oh, okay.
Like that, you have to turn in your driver's license
Sure.
so that everywhere it's fed.
Right.
No, because you see people pulled over and they're like, here, and they're like, the officer's like, what's this? Oh, it's my cop ID. Sorry, I handed you the wrong one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, well, you have a real ID and you kind of want that because you're kind of being a scumbag. Okay. It's a ridiculous story. Same day, anger over masks and vaccines. According to the feds, Caserta says in a recorded conversation that the mask thing was making him most angry, along with mandated vaccines. That's funny that the mask thing made him more angry than mandated vaccines. Pretty funny. A minor inconvenience as opposed to putting untested technology in your body. Harris responds, quote, I'm just a trigger now. I'd love for it not to happen, but I'm pretty sure the day's coming. So now I'm just getting ready and waiting. Said it before, and I'll say it again. I don't plan on living past 30.
And who was this? I'm sorry?
This is Caserta, one of the main 6. Also, same day, new encrypted chat. So they've changed. Harris sets up new encrypted chat application to conceal discussions from law enforcement. The feds allege, quote, nice thing with this app is with the click of a button, you can empty everything out. And if feds try to see what you or anyone said, they can't find anything, end quote. Harris writes, true story, but if the people in your chat are also feds, it doesn't much matter, 6 days later, August 29th, they watched the vacation home. This is a step up to actual action. Yeah. Captain Autism, Big Dan, and another person. We're just going to say he's a fed because he's another person. So we're just going to say a fed. Good guess, Conduct surveillance of Governor's Cottage near... So it's Captain Autism and 2 feds.
Okay.
They're going out on a scouting mission. Near Elk Rapids. Oh, I do have the location. According to the feds. Fox drives to within yards of her cottage, takes photos and videos, draws a map of the location, and notes distances to local police responders, feds say. Within yards of her cottage. So what's yards? 3 yards?
Yeah, 10 feet.
Okay,
but the cottage or the property?
It says to the cottage.
Okay.
Yards of her cottage.
pretty close.
And you got to figure they have some type of security. So he's probably on camera by the, because this is not the way you surveil.
Right.
This is, I'm sorry. He's like,
you're visiting.
Can I look in the window, check the door? Oh, I didn't wear gloves. You know what I mean? Come on, this is stupid. The next day, discussion of destroying the bridge. In an encrypted message, Garvin suggests taking down a highway bridge near the governor's vacation home and offers to paint his boat black. For night surveillance, the feds allege. I'm going to put a screen capture of that text on the screen. I think it's pretty funny because they use Borat in it. Yes. I just found it amusing. What do you think?
Yeah, I picture the dude smoking in the basement, and I'm like, yeah, that guy's sending these texts.
Sending Borat.
That makes sense.
Appreciate Borat, but I don't think I've ever sent Borat gifts to people. Right. I should, but I probably won't.
And if you're planning something serious,
yeah.
Again, these aren't the people that you're worried about.
Right. Okay, and it's as if you use the little, like, let's blow up the bridge emoji.
Right.
That, I didn't say it. Say it.
It's now encrypted.
Yeah. Well played. Okay, this is so stupid. Okay. September 4th. It's almost October now.
Okay.
Discussion of attacking Whitmer. In an encrypted chat with Captain Autism, Caserta questions going after Mrs. Whitty and calls her a puppet who is easily replaceable by the puppet master. So Caserta is saying, no, let's not go after this lady because she's replaceable. Quote, I don't think we should waste time chasing puppets, bro, although they are morally culpable for their actions, and it would be totally justified. Find out who her handlers are and go after them instead. But Whitty, ? Lots of media coverage will be part of her scenario. Would it be justified to do something with her? Yes, but I'm thinking we can do more. Captain Autism responds, quote, making people disappear is instilling fear. Caserta, quote, I definitely agree. I'm not saying I don't support that choice. I'm just interested in possibly going a little higher up. I want Zionist banker blood.
Oh, wow.
That took a twist. I shouldn't probably have said the whole thing, but that's not what I'm saying, honestly.
And who was that?
That's Caserta and Captain Autism going back and forth.
Okay, gotcha.
Very interesting twist.
So that's no feds in that conversation. That was just
them two. Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody's doing some research. Okay. The same day, Captain Autism writes, quote, felonies against Whitmer, ... gives us not only the moral high ground, but technically justifies us in ending her tyrannical reign. Now, I don't know if the ... was by him, because it's in the quote, or if they're excluding something. Can't tell you, honestly. Garvin replies, quote, let's see where it goes. Captain Autism responds, quote, well, we can, but doesn't prevent us from moving forward. Okay. 8 days later, training in Luther. The main six plus Big Dan, and of course, Robinson's there, along with two other undercover FBI agents. So these aren't informants. They're along with two undercover FBI agents and others. So I don't know if the others are more FBI or more of these people. Attend field training exercise at Garvin's property in Luther. According to the superseding indictment, quote, they practice assaulting a building in teams and discuss tactics for fighting the governor's security detail with improvised explosive devices, a projectile launcher, and other weapons. Crofton Harris, quote, detonated an improvised explosive device containing shrapnel near human silhouette targets hung by the conspirators to assess its effectiveness, the feds allege. So this is a much more severe type of thing. Now they're practicing for the target. And so they brought in undercover FBI agents to assist with this. Gotcha. Because the informant who's training them militarily, the one who's funding them, the one who's hosting them, that's not enough FBI to get them to learn how to do the thing. They're still practicing reloading magazines. Yeah,
it's like they got to get them confident enough to feel like that they can actually, so that they feel like they can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have another point I just want to pitch. Okay, so imagine you were a part of a militia, and you were going to do a propaganda film with a cameraman right next to you taking pictures and people videotaping you, right?
Okay.
And say you said, okay, look, I can reload a magazine in this rifle in about 9.7 seconds. 9.7 seconds, I can get the next one in there. You know what I mean? Because, I don't know what the top and the bottom is. You know what I mean? Like, what's the buttons on this thing? Wouldn't you watch those dudes who do it in like 2.1 seconds or 1. The wild dudes, the YouTubers? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're like, and you're like, what just happened? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you watch that dude stand in front of a mirror and do it?
That's the point. You practice that stuff in your living room, and you just sit there watching TV, and you're just flipping mags. No,
right.
I'm not going to say I've done that, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
That's how you practice that.
Yeah, but if I'm the guy in the pirate hat, and I'm like, this is my shot, limelight, I'm going to get a film. I'm going to bring that 9.7 seconds down to like a respectable 6.8.
Right.
You know what I mean? And everybody's still like, you're the worst. At least I'm not 9 points. I'm just making a joke, but it just occurs to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just not even that much forethought, you know?
Yeah, all the mechanics should be down when you get to this.
Right.
point.
You would think the stuff that you could do without even firing a bullet, you think you would
Right.
know those things, you know? Okay. So now also on the same day, September 12th, they watched the cottage. That's the governor's cottage. Most of those gathered in Luther drive in 3 vehicles to governor's cottage near Elk Rapids for night surveillance. This is a big old group. A convoy going out to the obscure cottage. Nobody will know.
Right.
No locals think this is suspicious. Their cars are packed with dudes.
Right.
It's like, this is a gang. They record the trip with a digital dash cam, of course. Among them were Big Dan, of course. Informant Stephen Robinson, of course. Undercover FBI agent they knew as Red, of course, who had introduced to the group by an informant as the explosives or demo guy. They stop at M31 Highway Bridge where Fox and Red, so this is Captain Autism and FBI agent Red, inspect the underside looking for places to set an explosive device. Captain Autism should just turn to him and be like, dude, I don't know anything about this. You just let the feds handle it. You know what I mean? Just send all feds down there, you know?
This episode ended up being so long that we're going to have to put it in 2 parts, or we have issues uploading. So we're going to catch the second part of this. Will be posted tomorrow. Thank you.